Athletic Commission, in conjunction with the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians at Pearl River Resort. The chairman of the Miccosukee Athletic Commission is Billy Cypress. The executive director is dashing Don Hazelton. The commissioner's legal advisor is Juan Vargas, and the tribe's executive boxing consultant is Paul Herman. Also in attendance is Philip Martin, chief of the Choctaw tribe. All bouts are scored under a 10-point must system and will follow the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. All ring officials are assigned by the Miccosukee Athletic Commission. The attending physicians are Dr. Walt Willis and Dr. Boris Trifonovic. The judges at ringside are Fred Sauer, Mark Streisand, Michael Pernick, and Elmo Adolf. The timekeeper is Carmine Chiricella. The knockdown timekeeper is the alternate referee. The referees are Tommy Kimmons and George Alonzo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's time to separate the boys from the men, and that's just the way I like it. Boxing fans, let's get ready to box on Fox. 10 rounds of heavyweight action, refereed by Tommy Kimmons, and introducing to you first, to my left, fighting out of the red corner, weighing in at 239 pounds with a record of 30 wins, 2 losses, 4 draws, and 14 of those wins coming by way of knockout from Houston, Texas, Ahmed Abdin. And his opponent to my right, fighting out of the blue corner, weighing in at 252 pounds with a record of 54 wins, 11 losses, 1 draw, 38 of those wins coming by way of knockout. From Bucks County, by way of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 2-time heavyweight champion, Terrible Tim Witherspoon.
Chief second only. Gentlemen, it's a 10-round main event, and I gave you the instructions. I want to remind you, this audience here to watch you fight, so let's keep it clean. Touch them up.
So with that, we are set to go with our main event. Ahmed Abdin says, I know he's going to come after me. I know he's going to throw a lot of right hands. He says, I'm ready for that. Tim Witherspoon flatly says, I'm going to knock him out.
Well, Witherspoon is confident because he's got the confidence born of a full training camp, Barry. He's very excited about that. And so was his manager, Tom Moran, who felt that the fact that he had 5.5 weeks up in the Poconos really enabled Tim to get ready for this bout tonight.
Although, as we said earlier, he does come in here at 252. That's on the high side for him. He had fought at his best probably in the 230, 235 area.
About that weight, though, he claims that that's not fat. He says, he was, Tim's always presented kind of a soft exterior in the last several years, but he says a lot of that has been changing to muscle because he is now working with weights and doing a lot of strength work and work that affects the muscles that way. So he hasn't been losing weight.
Keep working. Let him go in there.
Sean O'Grady, the champ, has joined us here at our table, and Abdin knows what to expect. I guess the big question, Shawnee, is can he handle it?
Like everyone, Abdin is expecting a big overhand right. He's keying on that. But you know what? Tim has been working in the gym diligently on his left hook, not to knock his opponent out, but just to keep his opponent busy on the other side of his face so that he can throw the right hand. The right hand is his most profound weapon. He has to use it, and he promises to use it in looking for his 55th win as a pro.
I think he is a guy who has always had a lot of skills. He has never utilized all his skills.
He's never reached his true potential. I mean, look at him back in the 80s and the early 90s. This is a guy in Tim Witherspoon who could have been world champion for a long period of time. Instead, squandered a lot of his time. Now at 44, he realizes, hey, I really have to get going. I did something, I could do it again.
Always a very nice guy, always a very approachable guy, easy to talk to, and just a good guy. There was a time, however, where had a lot of guys around him who you couldn't make that same statement about.
And really for Ahmed, he has a great opportunity here. Tim Witherspoon surely looking over him and not looking for much of a contest from Abdin. Abdin must go right after him. Watch out for the right hand. But there are a couple of key areas that you might really specifically do in order to rob your opponent of his attributes. You got to rob Tim of that right hand. There's the right.
Yep, up on the top of the head. You can see Abdin keep that left hand up above his ear.
Let me tell you, he's very aware of that Witherspoon right. He's got it almost up to the top of his head at times.
Abdin very flat-footed and rather stiff-legged.
Get him up a little, Tim.
Originally from Syria. Been here for 15 years.
Abdin fighting a very controlled first round, though. He, too, presents the soft exterior, but it looks like he's getting around the ring pretty good.
Stay back, stay back. All right, let's go.
Coming to the end of the first round. This is a let's see what you got round.
Time!
Let's talk a little bit about Ahmed Abdin. As we said, he now lives in Houston, Texas, originally from Syria.
Well, he's only lost 2 fights, Barry, out of 36. He shows a good jab and some hand speed. He didn't show much of that in the first round, but he was just feeling him out. The only 2 losses that I mentioned to were to the world-class opponents, the Michael Grant, Larry Donald. He's a native of Syria who came to the United States at the age of 15, basically to pursue a boxing career. Across the ring from him,
Everything's okay.
getting the mouthpiece from Slim Jim Robinson is terrible Tim Witherspoon, who's always had the big right hand and the big ability to knock out just about anybody. He's fought them all down through the course of his career, just about. And as a person, a single parent, 3 kids, 1 grandkid, says that it's tough, you know, because he has to cook for him. And so he's cooking and he's around that food a lot. And you know what happens when you get around that food a lot.
Unfortunately, I do. No, this guy really has changed a lot. I mentioned earlier, I've had a chance to do a lot of his fights when he really was rolling, and always a good guy, but now he's a good guy with responsibilities. Just kind of trying to pick Witherspoon. Now, the interesting thing is, when Witherspoon has gotten his opponents, this in the last couple of years, he either gets them out early, or if he gets into the late rounds, he can have some problems. He knocked out Darrell Wilson in 2, Ed White in 1, Cleveland Woods in 1, but then going back to Monty Barrett, he lost a 10-round split decision. Prior to that, he TKO'd Danny Wolford in 3, TKO'd David Bostis in 1, TKO'd David Smith in 2, and then had a 12-round draw with Mike Cedillo. So when he goes rounds, it's not as easy for him.
And the fights then tend to take on sometimes a laborious pace because he realizes he's into that situation and he begins to pace himself.
Trying to work the body and bring that defense of Abdin down.
Tim Witherspoon, well, when I talk about that lost generation of heavyweights and the champions, look at the guys he beat in the 80s. These guys all held like titles at one time or another. Frank Bruno, Tony Tubbs, Greg Page, James Quick-Tillis, Ronaldo, Mr. Snipes. I don't think Snipes ever got a championship, but he was in there and almost took the title one time for Holmes. And of course, Tim Witherspoon fought Larry Holmes way back in 1984 after only 14 pro bouts. Very close, very controversial fight in terms of the decision. Holmes winning a very tight split decision over Tim Witherspoon that night.
Tim was an athlete. He was a tight end in football. Langston College in Oklahoma.
Don't pull his head.
It was a very good combination by Abdin. Just short, quick, concise punches. He's very calm in there.
I would say Abdin, the way he's fighting, looks like his thought process is, if I can get this into the later rounds and then launch a little offense, I might have a shot here. Being very economical. But in the meantime, not doing enough to win these early rounds.
I might disagree with you on this.
Okay. Please.
I think Abdin is boxing well, and he's getting a feel for Witherspoon's power. Plus, he's trying to time his punches, I believe, and see what Witherspoon's got. Right now, he's pretty much seeing all of Witherspoon's punches.
Pretty good job. End of 2.
Get me undercover, brother.
In the fight against evil, he'll go where no spy has gone before.
He had sex with a white girl.
Was it everything I dreamed of?
Good.
Undercover Brother, rated PG-13, at theaters Friday, May 31st.
Here at the Beef and Bird Cook-Off, does anyone cook on a gas grill?
You couldn't get anybody out here to cook with gas.
Between gas and charcoal, there is a difference. You can taste it. It's like night and day.
So what's the charcoal of choice?
Kingsford.
Why?
The flavor alone.
Kingsford is a charcoal to use.
Yeah?
It's a charcoal to use.
How come?
Taste, definitely the taste. Nothing beats Kingsford. That is a fact. I guarantee it.
Kingsford, because taste is everything.
Give me the Kingsford, you can keep the gas.
No, thanks a lot.
Present from me to you.
Oh, shave. Barbasol. Better buy Barbasol.
With 7 great flavors, better buy Barbasol.
We welcome you back. We move along now to round number 3, weeknights at 10:30. The Last Word with Jim Rome. Romy telling it like it is. The Last Word with Jim Rome, weeknights at 10:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. Interesting fight so far. Not a lot of action, but a good tactical fight.
Right. Well, it's a chess match right now. The two guys still figuring each other out, and the two looking for any kind of slight edge that they can find at this point. Both the first and second rounds very close. Abdin looking to the referee, Tommy Kimmons, about something there. I'm not exactly sure what. But Witherspoon is stepping up his aggressiveness a little bit here in round 3.
But Abdin doing a pretty good job of picking a lot of Witherspoon's punches. Sean O'Grady is in the corner with Slim Jim Robinson. God knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, the experience of Slim Jim Robinson over here in Tim Witherspoon's corner. And Slim Jim, tell me what you see.
Well, I see Tim hitting this guy with these body shots. I got him leading off with the jab and keep the guy in distance, okay? The guy's looking.
Is he keying on the right hand of Tim?
Well, yeah. He knows that. Yeah, Abdin was keeping him because he knows that Tim throws a good right hand. So he's got his left hand up real high, so he can't hit there. So
and how do you combat that?
So I want Tim to feed the jab to him and go to the stomach.
Feed the jab and then go to the stomach.
Yeah, right hand to the body.
All right, okay. the right. Yeah, take the right hand away, and then you got him. It's simple math. Go the right hand to the body, and then you'll be able to open up for the head. How about that?
I've always used that.
Don't push him down. Work out of it,
right now, though, Witherspoon not throwing too many body shots, and Abdin keeping that left hand up and not getting hit a lot. There was a couple there.
That was good work to the body. And Abdin really quite worried about that right hand of Witherspoon to the head. Has kept his left hand up in a defensive posture all night high, but now it's beginning to drop down a little. It's like sometimes he suddenly remembers, I got to keep my hand up, and puts it up there.
All right, let's go.
Again, Abdin looking to the referee. I'm not quite sure what the issue at hand is. You're right, that left hand of Abdin dropping a little bit every now and then.
You know, Witherspoon, being the nice kind of guy that he is, he says, I wish I could get a really big money fight. Getting a warning out for low blows with Witherspoon. He says, I'd like to help out some of those guys that were in the lost generation of heavyweights that I fought with in the 80s. You know, David Bays and guys like that. Maybe he could use a buck here or there. And I'm sure there are a lot of them.
Hold him, let him go.
Sean O'Grady saying, how about me? End of 3, we're coming back.
Killer is out on DVD.
From hell. Jack the Ripper's not finished.
It's the cutting edge of DVD with over 20 deleted scenes and an alternate ending. From hell. Rent the video or own the DVD today.
Stop by Long John Silver's and try the new Crunchy Fish Strips Combo. Moist, flaky white fish breaded and fried to crunchy golden brown perfection. You get 6 mouth-watering fish strips, hush puppies, fries, and a drink for just $2.99 for a limited time. So stop by and grab one today.
No waiting on aisle 5.
Fat ass.
Comedy commentary highlights the
down to round number 4, and Abdin hanging in there, but in the process giving a lot of rounds away, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you had it right earlier when he's kind of waiting, hoping to get into a long fight when he figures a 44-year-old guy is going to wilt. There, Witherspoon was going for that signature punch of his, that overhand right. It comes as such a surprise, you know, when you see most heavyweights, when you see most boxers throw their right, it comes from the shoulder, it comes as a straight punch. You don't necessarily see it, especially when they kind of bend over and dip, and then that right comes from way back and way over the top in a roundhouse fashion. Very different look.
There's a little bit of swelling under the right eye of Tim Witherspoon, but we mentioned this earlier when Sean O'Grady was interviewing Tim Witherspoon, that a lot of that was there before this fight even started.
Abdin triple jabbed Witherspoon, and Tim came right back with a triple jab. It was on. No really telling blows have landed in this fight yet. No material damage on either fighter.
Sean O'Grady is in the corner of Ahmed Abdin, and he's all by himself, Sean. Nobody's talking to you, huh?
Nobody will talk to me over here.
I hate when that
but I did a lot of listening over here, and they like what Abdin is doing. He lasted through these early rounds, and you know, a lot of the early round knockouts have come from Tim Witherspoon. That's where he's the most dangerous. He still has some danger later in fights, but those first 3, if you can get past those, then you can build up some kind of fight plan. That's where they are now. Now they're telling him, you've got to be busier in there. Just as you guys were saying the last round, not quite throwing enough punches. They want him to get those hands flying. That's what they're looking for Abdin. He's not doing it here, guys.
No, not doing a lot of it. Trying to open up a little bit, but when he does, Witherspoon responds.
A little burst of activity from him.
Work out of it, guys.
Body shot by Abdin. Another good body shot by Abdin. That's not a bad idea.
On the back of the trunks of Witherspoon, you will see BOC. When he gets turned around, you can see that. And what it refers to is the Boxers Organizing Committee, which he's a prime mover in. And the Boxers Organizing Committee, what that is they're busy and getting busy about getting a union for boxers, which the sport has sadly missed and sorely needs, and trying to get some representation in terms of a union for boxers so they can get some benefits that exist in all other sports. That's what that BOC means right there.
Good idea. So again, this 4th round, very much like the first 3. And the only question you have is Abdin doing enough to win the rounds, or is he giving just too many away?
Someone out there just beat a 17-year-old girl to death. His books lure his prey.
This guy crossed the line and he didn't even blink.
His crimes inspire his stories.
Who's this?
I have great respect for your profession. That's why I write about it.
And all he needs now is an ending.
There is she, Finch.
Al Pacino, Robin Williams, Hilary Swank.
Working on a new book, Mr. Finch?
Insomnia. Rated R. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Two grilled stuffed burritos.
Bring it on.
It's big, it's beefy. It's the grilled stuffed burrito from Taco Bell. Seasoned beef, 3 melted cheeses, sealed inside a grilled tortilla. The affordable heavy-duty portable is just $1.99. For the heaviest meal on wheels, you gotta think outside the bun.
Welcome back, round number 5 now, and he's gonna have to get getting here, I think. Earlier tonight, of course, our first fight, a thriller, as Otis Tisdale beats Chester Hughes in what has to be considered a pretty good-sized upset. Hughes had only lost 1 fight coming in, and Tisdale, despite being docked 2 points for holding on a knockdown, actually, of Hughes, comes up a winner by majority decision.
By the way, we've been informed, Sean O'Grady checked with George Alonso, the referee, in that fight with Hughes, and apparently he was mandated by ABC rules to take 2 points away, that it was actually taken out of his hands, that when you hit a man when he's down, it is a 2-point, apparently a 2-point deduction, or if he's out of the ring, it's a 2-point deduction.
I still am not certain that he was down, to tell you the truth, and unfortunately the angle of the replay that we had didn't prove conclusively one way or another either.
Of course, even if he was laying across the ropes, referees are told that, you know, if the ropes are what is holding a man up from being down, it is considered, they can consider it a knockdown.
Right, and I suppose that goes back to the Benny Kid Perret
guys. Your hands are free. Get out
tragedy. Then, of course, Mia St. John winning a fight over Christy Fulmer that just about every person in this arena, ourselves included, thought that Christy Fulmer won. But the three most important people, or at least two of them, thought that Mia St. John won. Meanwhile, this round shaping up exactly as the first four did.
That other thing on the back of Tim Witherspoon's pants that you see is Raiders. To explain the BOC, Boxing Organizing Committee, but the Raiders refers to when he was having his problems with promoter Don King. He was suing Don King, and he had kind of a loosely formed organization called the Raiders of Boxing. They were kind of rebel-rousers named basically fashioning themselves after the Raiders of the National Football League at the time, and they were the Raiders of Boxing.
Good left hand. Snuck that in. Nothing wrong with that.
No, and Abdin, he can't look at the referee for that. Of course, it did come after the break. He was stepping down. He was just lazy. He just relaxed defensively. So Witherspoon whacked him with a left hook. And, you know, Witherspoon being an experienced guy, that's, you know, you learn to take advantage of situations like that.
Absolutely.
The wonder of it all. Take a chance, make it happen. Pop the cork, finger snapping. Spin the wheel, round and round we go. Life is good, life is sweet. Grab yourself a front row seat. Let's meet and have a ball. Let's live, yeah, let's live for the wonder of it all. Meet me at Foxwoods. Foxwoods.
Hi, I'm Johnny Pesky of the Boston Red Sox. Please join me for a very special night of celebration. The Tradition, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Sports Museum, presented by New Balance. New England's premier sports gala will honor some of the greatest names in New England sports. The Lifetime Achievement Award will be given to Hall of Famer Ted Williams. Please join me and some of Boston's greatest athletes at The Tradition, June 13th at the Fleet Center. Buy your tickets at sportsmuseum.org, the Fleet Center box office, or Ticketmaster.
All right, action from the last round. Now watch Abdin, he just relaxes, getting lazy. Put your hands up. Sean, look at that.
Referee never said break. That was a fair punch by Tim, but Tim even stepped back and said, hey, you never called break. The thing to do is hit your opponent in that instance. The last thing the referee tells you is protect yourself at all times. You know, a word about this fight. Tim Witherspoon is trying for the knockout, but it's so hard to come when your opponent's not ready to accept it. What Tim has to do is he's got to lull his opponent, Abdin, into a false sense of security, and then he might be able to knock him out. When Abdin's got his left hand up around his eye and he's real apprehensive about closing and making it kind of a banal fight because of that reason, it's very difficult to knock out a fighter in that capacity. I had 70 knockouts, so it's very difficult. You got to lull them into this sense of security, then you can crack them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Abdin, and I can't help but wonder, I don't know that this has ever happened to you, but I'm sure you've seen it, where he concentrates so much on being a good defensive fighter, you forget about offense.
Yes, that's right. The best defense is what? And he has to right now realize that, and this is where he wanted to be in this fight. He wanted to be into the 6th and 7th round. In these rounds, you've got to turn it on. He may have boxed himself into a corner, though, by losing those first 5 rounds.
There's reddening under each eye now of Abdin, and it's come to the fore really in this round. Witherspoon has really thrown a great jab in this round. He must have landed 10 solid jabs, flush on the face. He's going right underneath each of those eyes. And when you see Abdin, you'll see a little bit of reddening and a little bit of swelling now under each eye. There's that jab again. Witherspoon smartening up and using that jab.
It's a good jab, too.
Again.
And again.
Boy, that's Sean. When you're in the recipient of that, isn't that just a really discouraging thing when you end up getting hit with those jabs one after another like that?
Very discouraging if you get hit with anything. Come on. But yes, you're right. With those jabs right there, too, what Tim's trying to do is he's trying to show the left. Show your opponent your left. Give him your left jab. Show him your left. Look over here at my left hand. As you're looking at my left hand, then you can crack him with the right. There's the payoff punch for Tim is the right. Big left hook from Abdin. Abdin has some good skills, but look at his punches. He's not really committing with his punches, not going forward with them, not really committing with his punches to punch hard. In order to do that, you have to move forward. Big right hand.
Finally, we saw it from Witherspoon.
And it really drilled Abdin.
See how Tim, when he goes forward with his punches, he has power with them. He commits. Not to mention there aren't fighters that need to be committed. Several of them, but these two right here, what Abdin needs to do is commit further.
I think Tim Witherspoon has softened up Abdin some with that jab in this round.
Yeah.
That left the opening for the right hand.
That's why it worked. That's the only reason it worked. You get your opponent watching that left, and then you'll use that right.
I think Witherspoon is beating Abdin at Abdin's game.
I think this has been the best round of the fight for Witherspoon, mainly because of that jab. Boy, it's been a hard one. Accurate.
Two more. Yeah, this is an excellent round, and Abdin is starting to take
It ain't no thing.
Undercover Brother.
You're too much man for me.
Rated PG-13 at theaters Friday, May 31st.
Well, I just sent some cash to my kid brother in Dallas.
Yeah, for his new pizza place.
You'll get it before you can say
pepperoni.
When loved ones need to send or receive cash, location really is everything.
My mom's throwing a party in Philly for my dad's 75th, so I just sent some money to help out. I can't get there, but I know the cash will.
Only Western Union has over 90,000 agent locations worldwide, so chances are there's one near you.
I just picked up cash for an air conditioner, and getting here was no sweat.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
Oh, shave. Barbasol. Better buy Barbasol.
With 7 great flavors, better buy Barbasol.
After a steady diet of left jabs, finally, the right hand there from Tim Witherspoon. That was the first big right from Witherspoon during the course of the fight. You not only could see it, you could hear it.
Round 7 now. I've given Witherspoon every round. I know you gave 1 round to Abdin.
You gave round 2 to Abdin. Otherwise, Tim with just a steady, methodical performance. And when you fight at this pace, even if you're 44, this is not the pace where you're going to run out of gas. In fact, it's Witherspoon, the guy that's picking it up as the fight wears on here, not Abdin.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that old cross-armed style of Tim Witherspoon. He used to do that a lot more. The old Archie Moore style of defense, crossing your arms up in front of you. George Foreman adopted that in his later years as well. We saw a little bit of it there from Tim Witherspoon.
The mongoose. And there's your scoring. Decided edge for Tim Witherspoon. And Witherspoon working that jab again. Kind of like a sparring session for Tim Witherspoon so far. Showed a pretty good ability to pick the jab of Abdin also. Look at those, all are being caught by the gloves. Barry Tompkins, Rich Murata, the champ, Sean O'Grady. Choctaw, Mississippi. It's chilly in Choctaw.
Can you get chili in Choctaw?
I don't know.
Maybe not, but you can get a lot of other kind of different meals down here.
You can't get pearls in Pearl River either.
Abdin is not fighting like a man who's real confident that he can get it done. You think at this point now in his career, he's got to go for the gusto here.
Yeah, just really not doing much. He's been like in second gear the whole fight.
Tim Witherspoon trying to lull him into a mistake. Look at Tim bending down, little bitty head feints and shoulder feints. A lot of times, Tim will look down and he'll kind of look almost at the belt line of his opponent. That's when he attacks with that overhand right. There he was looking for it. But now Abdin finally with his first combination to amount to anything during the course of the fight. Oh, nice left hook. But Witherspoon did a good job of blocking most of those punches.
Absolutely. He's very quick for a 44-year-old guy defensively. End of 7, more of same.
When we made the first portable PC, we were way ahead of our time. We still are. Take this compact Presario 2800T notebook. Thin, light, powerful. With the mobile Intel Pentium 4 processor M, you get all that and longer battery life. And this week it comes with a free carrying case, extra battery, and there's a $50 instant rebate. So it's just $13.99. You just call 1-888-271-1826 to get yours now. Our notebooks keep getting thinner and lighter. Sure wish I was.
In the ring, Evander Holyfield faced a life of extremes.
This is the most unbelievable spectacle I have ever seen.
But he was overwhelmed by the temptations of fame.
I never ever wanted to have his Halloween.
And it almost cost him everything.
I don't think Evander has ever been faithful towards me.
Evander Holyfield, Beyond the Glory, next on Fox Sports Net.
Round 8 of this 10-round main event. Tim Witherspoon in the white trunks and Ahmed Abdin in the black. And Abdin going to have to knock Witherspoon out and has shown thus far no ability to apparently be able to do that.
Slim Jim Robinson in the corner of Tim Witherspoon was telling him, get close to him, then let your hands go. Throw short punches, 6-inch punches. I'll tell you, Slim Jim was a man in charge in that corner.
Yeah, he really is. A guy who's really been around the track, knows what he's doing. He's with Sean O'Grady right now. Sean?
I'm over here, with Slim Jim.
Yeah.
And Jim, it's been going on for several rounds. He's been percolating. I think Abdin is as ready as he's ever been. What do you think?
I think so, too.
And what do you have Tim do?
I want him to step it up just a little bit more this year around here. I figured that in the 10th round, he ought to be able to get rid of this guy.
In the 10th round or by the 10th round?
In the 10th round. This is the 9th round that we're in now. I think, anyway.
I think we are in the 8th round.
Okay.
By the 7th or 8th round, sometimes these fighters get that second wind, and they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Are you fearful of that from Abdin?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. As good a puncher as Timmy is. Okay. All he needs is a good, clean shot. But this guy here hasn't really been given it to him. Because see where his left hand is?
He's looking for it.
He's looking for it. Yeah.
He's
looking for it. Yeah.
What does he have to do to find it?
I tell him to lead with it and hit the guy with the left hook to the body.
Let him have it.
Let him have it to the body, and then that open that right hand for him.
Left hook to the body and overhand right.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be looking for that.
Okay.
Slim Jim, that's a voice of experience, looking for the left hook to the body, the overhand to the right, and he thinks this fight will be over.
Really
Guys.
The voice of calm also.
Right.
Again, this virtually every round has been identical to a greater or lesser degree for Tim Witherspoon.
Abdin at times has looked like a guy who's a sparring partner for a major fighter. In other words, you take the lead, you go ahead, you do the work. I'll give you some work in here, throw a few punches, I'll kind of get you ready and everything. But to me, he hasn't looked like a guy really pursuing a dream, pursuing a goal. With the, the only goal it has seemed to be, I'll get it into the later rounds. Maybe he's still planning on opening up.
Well, but he's in a situation now where he would have to knock him out. And he's a guy who really hasn't made a career of knocking guys out. He's got 14 of them, but 14 in 30 wins is not, by heavyweight standards, a big number.
Well, if you're not a knockout man, you better out hustle your opponent.
Abdin is trying to do something, but Witherspoon just too crafty. And Abdin just looking more and more like he's just simply over. Going to the corner of Tim Witherspoon as the crowd starts to boo.
Let's see what round this is in the card goes.
Last round.
Last round.
Ninth.
This is the 9th round, Tim. You're the 9th round, Tim. Your 9th round, okay? All right. How you feeling?
All right.
I want you to push a little bit more in this round. You got to fight that feeling, Tim. Okay? All right. This guy's ready to go, tell me if you put enough pressure on him. Okay, we get this guy out of here.
He looking for game reps.
All right? You got,
In the corner of Ahmed Abdin.
Yeah, you gotta keep working your jab. That's important for the kid. And keep the hands right, okay? Just looking good.
Seconds out. Seconds out.
They're trying to encourage Abdin in the corner, but Slim Jim is encouraging Witherspoon to the point where you can get this guy out.
Well, let's see if he obliges here. Round 9.
And Tim was a little confused about the round. He thought that this was the last round coming up.
Well, I think he was that because in the 7th round, the ring card girl came in with a sign that said 8.
Oh.
We got Abdin trying to work the jab and then a very stiff left hook. Again, you've given that round to Witherspoon. So 6-round edge, 6-point edge for Witherspoon on your card. I've given Witherspoon every round.
Witherspoon's been training at Fernwood in the Poconos, actually right down the street from where Lennox Lewis trained for his fight with Mike Tyson. You can just see Witherspoon setting up that left hook to the body. Yeah, now see, Abdin has the ability to do that. You wonder where it is. He's much too sparse with his punches. That was a nice combination. A couple times tonight he's thrown good. He's got a pretty good speed of hand that you see.
When he does, but when he throws it, but he just has not done it. He's been content to kind of snap the jab out and just push a lot of punches. This round a little bit better.
I interviewed Witherspoon on my radio show not long ago, and he was telling me the last question I asked him was about which kind of shape he was in, his weight. He goes, yeah, I'm keeping my weight down. He goes, really keeping a close eye, watching what I eat. I said, okay, thanks for being on, Tim. And he goes, okay, thanks. Unfortunately, he didn't hang up, and so he was still on, and I heard him say, before I could say another word, hey, let's go eat. Where's the buffet?
Well, he's watching what he eats.
Left uppercut inside from Witherspoon.
Break! No punching. No punching. Let him go.
And Abdin just a little bit of a flurry in this round, and now he's kind of falling back into that posture where he's receiving more than he's giving. Those are caught on the gloves. Just amazing how many punches Witherspoon is able to pick.
Yeah, especially since he holds his left hand down so low so often.
Break! There you go. Ah.
A little bit closer round, but not sure you can make a case for Abdin even in that round.
I'll make it for him.
All right, I'll do it too. What the heck?
Yeah, no.
I feel kind of guilty here. I'll give it to Abdin.
Well, we'll take a look back at the action. Really, in terms of highlights, there have not been a lot. There, right hand from Witherspoon as he tried to get that right hand going. There's a quick hand speed of Abdin, which he flashed in the 2nd round. Showing it again here in round 5. The Witherspoon punctuating the exchange with a left hook. There was a very good left hook when he got lazy defensively. The right hand by Witherspoon, that was probably the best punch of the fight. Into round 7 they went. Witherspoon still throwing those right hands, and probably will try to launch a few here.
This is the
10th and final round.
All right, give me a touch. Touch him. Give me a clean touch, guys. Last round.
They touch gloves to start the final round. And Abdin, without question, would need a knockout. I feel very confident in saying that. And Witherspoon will start jumping on Abdin.
Break! Let him go. Get him up, Tim. Get him up.
I'm just surprised that Abdin has never, at least to this point, really, with the exception of just a couple of flurries, really tried to pick it up. I mean, this is an important night in his career. This is it. He's got the stage to himself here with the former two-time heavyweight champion. And yes, he's an underdog, but man, go for it. Go for the gusto. This is the opportunity here.
Got to do it, but I think he waited too long.
Break! Last round, guys, last round.
Chris, he came into the ring very cognizant of the right hand. He's probably seen the tape of that knockout of Darrell Wilson 165 times, right. Which makes you, think about it, worry about it, and plan your way of defensive technique against him. Which he did with that left hand up very high on his head throughout the early rounds.
The left hook by Witherspoon. Abdin's shot blocked by Witherspoon.
The last 10 fights for Terrible Tim, he's lost only one. That was a disputed split decision to Monty Barrett. And he has beaten good fighters along the way. I mean, beating Eliezer Castillo. And he knocked out David Bostis in one and knocked out Darrell Wilson in one. So there's still some gas in the tank. Might be moving a little slower, but, he is still winning fights.
Yeah, and he's savvy. And we mentioned earlier, he picks a lot of punches. It must be said, Abdin's not the quickest puncher, but he's got skills, and he's got a chance.
Tim would like to fight a big fight. Perhaps get in there with a guy like John Ruiz, who holds the WBA heavyweight championship. He has mentioned many times, how about Michael Moore? I'd like to get in there with Michael Moore, former heavyweight champion himself, is fighting his way back up the ladder once again.
Break!
Witherspoon probably answered a question about himself. He's gone 10 rounds at a reasonable pace here. And he's throwing punches just as hard now as he did early on. He's not really gasping too much. And this one is history. And I don't think there's too much doubt as to the outcome. Tim Witherspoon on my card winning 9 of the 10 rounds, on yours winning 8 of the 10 rounds. We'll find out officially when we come back to Chalk Talk.
Okay, so you're not a superstar or a millionaire. You're a regular person with regular talents and experience. If you want to feel like $1 million and put your experience to good use, here's how. Become a mentor. Instead of having the paparazzi follow you, you get a kid looking up to you. You can help a student achieve in school, explore a career path, and gain the confidence to succeed. It won't turn you into a celebrity, just a better person.
New England Sports Tonight, rules of the show. Rule number 1, etiquette.
I know, there can't be polite on this show, right?
Rule number 2, grammar.
No big words on this show, Bob.
Rule number 3, honesty.
Don't look on the internet, don't peek, don't cheat.
Rule number 4, punctuality.
The first time guys are always late.
And rule number 5, hospitality.
Well, Alan. Hug Alan. It's okay, Alan.
New England Sports Tonight. Weeknights at 6:30 on Fox Sports Net.
Well, there was joy in Abdin's corner. Let's see who won it. Here's Amy Hayes.
Ladies and gentlemen, go now to the scorecard for the decision as seen by our judges. Judge Fred Sawyer scores the bout 96-94. Judge Michael Pernick scores the bout 96-94. And finally, Judge Mark Streisand scores the bout 97-93, all for your winner. By unanimous decision, Terrible Tim Witherspoon.
Well, actually a lot closer than I thought, Rich.
I had the fight scored 98-92. I thought Witherspoon was a considerable winner, but there was so much elation in the corner of Abdin. They really, at the end of the fight, apparently thought that he had won the fight.
Well, let's go to Sean O'Grady. He's with Tim Witherspoon. Sean?
Thanks, guys. Tim Witherspoon, quickly, congratulations. Tim, you showed us in your last fight against Darrell Wilson, you can knock someone out, you still have the big power. You showed us in this fight that you could go the distance with good stamina. Yeah. How much did this fight help you tonight?
Well, going to 10 rounds, helped me out a lot. I got to get in a little bit better condition. you know, I wanted to knock him out because, you know, the expectation.
Well,
I'm not too pleased with the performance, but
you showed good stamina even in the end of this fight.
Yeah.
Dan Goosen, where do you go with Tim Witherspoon now?
One of the things I said at the beginning, Abdin was a tough opponent going in.
Very
It's type of fight, and he's very tough to hit. Okay, but from that end, we just keep on going up. He lost his only other 2 fights that he lost to was #1 contenders.
Right.
So I'm real
He's
happy
very
that
tough.
Tim won this one, and we're going to see a rise in the rankings.
Very tough. Well, Tim is up to number 11 in the world. Hopefully this pushes him further as he's ascension up to the heavyweight ladder. How about that, guys? The guy, it was a good matchup.
Yeah, good matchup. I thought a more lopsided fight than the judges saw it, but Tim Witherspoon with a W, and again, I think, as Sean said, I think the important thing is he went to 10 rounds and he looked to be at least in reasonably good shape. We already mentioned Otis Tisdale, what he did with Chester Hughes, a unanimous decision, an upset win for him, runs his record now to 19-6. Then Mia St. John in a controversial decision over Christy Fulmer, and then, of course, Rich, our main event.
Well, Witherspoon marches on, so I'm sure there'll be another opportunity for him to fight a name opponent.
We will see him again. There's no question about that. Well, a reminder to join us each and every Sunday at 6 p.m. for the Sunday Night Fights. Coming up next Sunday, we'll be at the Las Vegas Hilton for a heavyweight rematch between Robert Davis and Terrence Lewis. Coming up next on Fox Sports Net, Beyond the Glory, profiling former undisputed heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield. And then at 9, it's NASCAR Victory Lane, All Access. That's a wrap for us from here in Choctaw, Mississippi. For Rich Barada and Sean O'Grady, I'm Barry Tompkins. So long, everybody.